What an absolute disgrace of a football game. One of the worst games of football I've watched in such a long time. But before we get into any of that, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Tottenham Hotspur are Europa League champions. Tottenham Hotspur are in the Champions League. Tottenham Hotspur have won a trophy, for goodness sake. And if what bigger occasion would implore you to get involved down in the comment section below. Let me know what you're thinking. Man United fans, how are you feeling? We'll get on to Man United. Tottenham fans, how excited are you? First trophy since 2008. People will make it seem like Tottenham have never won a trophy in their history. They've won a lot of trophies. But their first trophy since 2008. The drought is over. The drought is over. And an absolute disgrace of a football game is what made it happen. I mean, where on earth do you even start with this game? Where on earth? I want to start with Tottenham Hotspur. Incredible feat winning the Europa League. I'm not even going to say incredible performance. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they came out and they played an incredible game of football. It was absolutely ridiculously bad from both teams. I think that game today showed me a whole host of things. But before we get into any of that, I want to give a huge congratulations to Ange Postecoglou, the man from down under who said he always wins things in his second season. They ridiculed him. They laughed at him. They insulted him. They called him a fat man from Australia. But look at him now. Europa League winner. And it's going to be interesting to see where he goes in his future. Is Tottenham Hotspur going to keep him on for another season? There's been a lot of talk about whether he wins or loses. Ange Postecoglou is not going to see next season. But after today's victory, after the ecstasy that he's brought Tottenham fans around the world, it's hard to say whether or not he's going to stay. I think tonight there were so many great performances individually. Even though the quality from a collective standpoint was not the best from either team, I thought Richarlison, look, love him or hate him, waste man or not, Richarlison gives you 100% every single game he plays. An annoying player to play against, both whether for a player in the opposition team and a fan of the opposition team. One of those players that really just gets you really annoyed in your house. You know, you're standing up and you're frustrated as though you're the player on the field yourself. So arrogant, so annoying, gets in your face, and just gives 100% to the team he plays for every single game he steps out onto the field. And today I thought he did an incredible job supporting Udogie every single time Amad Diallo got the ball. We'll get on to Amad Diallo later on. I thought Dominic Solanke didn't really have much of an impact, but when he did get the ball, held the ball up pretty well at times. I thought the midfield, there was no creativity because there was no Kulusevski, no James Maddison, no Lucas Bergvall. But I think the midfielders who were in there did their job to aplomb. I thought the defense, they were just solid. Pedro Porro locked down Mason Mount, locked down Patrick Dorgu. The center backs cleared everything that came into the box. Christian Romero, World Cup winner. He has experiences in these sort of big games, big moments, big titles on the line. And I think you saw that experience getting the Man United players riled up, getting in their faces, getting them frustrated, making them lose their heads. That's what these sort of players are going to do. And I think Man United fell into the trap of falling into those traps from Richarlison, from Christian Romero, those sort of players who they're not the best players in the world. They're not incredibly gifted, but they give 100%. And they know how to get into your head and they know how to kind of tip you off your game. And I think Tottenham did a really good job in doing that. And of course, the match winner, Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side. It wasn't even him that scored the goal. Actually, now that I remember it, it was a Luke Shaw own goal, but his run into the box created the goal. Bentancur's running behind created the space for him to run into. And his nuisance in the box just created that confusion and that chaos that led to the goal. I thought Andre Onana, maybe he could have done a bit better with the goal, but to be honest, the ball's bouncing around so much, I can't really blame him. But I thought the Tottenham team in the whole, I just felt as though they wanted it a bit more. You could see a bit more hunger, a bit more passion in the team. It looked like a team that hadn't won a trophy in 17 years. It looked like a team that knew what this meant to the fans, what this meant to the club as a whole. A club that, let's be honest, guys, we take the piss out of Tottenham every single year. There's so many chants, so many jokes around. There's a whole adjective called being Spursy. And I think you could see that passion and that desire to end that drought today. 17 years of no trophies, 17 years of no silverware, and finally Tottenham Hotspur can say that they're the winners. Because in football, hey, The winners celebrate and the losers explain. And for a long time, Tottenham have been the losers who've been explaining. Excuses about Pochettino, excuses about Harry Kane not being fully fit, excuses about, oh, our manager got sacked just before the cup final. Those things don't run. And at the end of the day, history only remembers the winners. And today, nobody will remember in 50 years, 100 years, nobody's going to remember that Man United versus Tottenham on the 21st of May, 2025 was one of the worst games I think most people have ever seen in a major European final. Band for band with Liverpool Tottenham. That final was also really bad. But nobody cares. You won the trophy, you put your name in the history books, and you signed, sealed, and delivered a trophy for your manager, for yourselves, and for the club. And I think that deserves a huge round of applause for all the Tottenham players out there. It's been a really rough season. I feel as though between the two clubs, in my opinion, they've both been beat with the same stick. They've had a lot of injuries. Manager that's been under fire throughout the season. Managers who are stubborn in their ways. Managers who have this sort of ego and this charismatic persona that kind of allows you to give them a bit of leeway, at least in Ange's first season and Amarim's first season now. But I think as time has gone on, there's been a lot of animosity growing within the club. And I think I look at Tottenham Hotspur, we mentioned it at the start, is Ange Postecoglou going to see another season at this club? I would not be surprised if he does. I would not be surprised if he doesn't. And either way, I don't think he cares because he made a promise at the start of the season, I win trophies in my second season. And he's fulfilled that promise to an absolute plum. He got to a Carabao Cup semi-final. He got knocked out pretty early in the FA Cup. And the Premier League has been an absolute calamity. But nobody's going to look back at that because next season, Tottenham Hotspur are going to be in the Champions League. Next season, Tottenham Hotspur are going to be your Europa League champions. And that's all that really matters. The losers on the other side, Manchester United. Honestly, I guess there's a reason why the Europa League is the second grade European competition. And I don't mean that with any disrespect, but the fact that these two teams are in a European final kind of just tells you the level of the Europa League. The fact that Athletic Bilbao lost 7-1 to Manchester United. And I know Athletic Bilbao had a lot of injuries. I think Iñaki was injured. I think Nico Williams was injured. Vivian was suspended. Sanchez was not. I think he was unfit or he was suspended. They had big absences. But at the same time, to lose 7-1 to this Man United team, come on. I watch La Liga I watch La Liga frequently. I watch Bilbao very regularly. And to lose 7-1, I was taken aback. Genuinely going into the tie, I thought Bilbao would beat Man United. Not even because the final was in Bilbao, but I genuinely just believe that Bilbao are a better team than Man United. And to lose 7-1 is an utter disgrace. It's an utter disgrace. Lyon losing to this Man United team after being 2 goals up with, 7 minutes to go? I mean, come on. Frankfurt losing to this Tottenham team at home in the quarterfinals? Come on. I think the fact that these two teams got to the final tells you the level in the Europa League. And there's a reason why it's the second grade European competition. And on Manchester United tonight, goodness me. I mean, from minute 1, the tactics made no sense to me. Now, for me, I made a video a few months ago talking about I think Amarim can take this team back to the top. Now, I will give him a bit of leeway. And it's leeway that many people have given him. These players are not good enough. These players are not good enough. But guys, I'm sorry. If you know that these players are not fitted to your mold, if you know that these players don't fit the system that you have to adapt. You have to adapt, especially because a lot of the arguments that I see online is that, oh, well, these players are not good enough. Oh, he knows that most of these players are not going to be here next season. Oh, he doesn't have his players. He hasn't been given a transfer window. So if that's the case, why is he still forcing these tactics when he knows most of these players don't fit the tactics? And I mean that on 2 levels. 1, you're not getting the best out of the players that you currently have, which means the team is a lot worse than they actually are. Man United don't have great players. But guys, these guys are not 17th place in the league quality. Mason Mount is not a 17th place in the league player. Garnacho, as average as he is not a 17th in the league place player. Like, come on, guys. Bruno Fernandes, Joshua Zirkzee. Let's not act as though Joshua Zirkzee was not one of the most sought-after players in Europe after his season at Bologna last season. Let's not act like Rasmus Højlund wasn't one of the most sought after strikers at Atalanta because he was showing a bit of quality here and there. Let's not act as though Casemiro is not a 5-time Champions League winner. Let's not act as though Mazraoui wasn't doing well at Ajax, had a good stint at Bayern Munich, is a very technically able footballer. Let's not act like Onana wasn't. Like, these are not bad players. I'm not expecting Man United to finish third. I'm not even expecting them to finish fifth. But 16th, guys, 16th is not like 16th. And let's take into account the 3 teams that are getting relegated don't count in my mind. They don't count. So Man United are genuinely the worst team in the league. Band for band with Tottenham. They are the worst team in the league. They are the worst team in the league. And these players are not the worst group of players in the league. The second element I don't understand is if you know you're not going to keep most of these players and they don't fit the system you have, why are you still trying to force this system if you know they're going to leave the club anyway? I would understand it if you have a group of players that fit your system, but maybe it's taking them some time to assimilate your philosophy. But if you know most of these players don't fit your system and most of these players are going to be gone next season, Eriksen is going to be gone. Højlund is most likely going to be gone. There are so many players in this Man United team that are probably going to leave this summer. So why is he still trying to teach them this philosophy that they are not going to need next season if they're going to leave the club? So why not just make the team robust, difficult to break down, and survive, win games, actually look a bit unbeatable? I don't understand it. I'm not saying this guy should come out here and finish 6th or 3rd. But come on, 10th position? You can't give me 10th position? You can't give me 11th? 9th? You can't be in that Brentford-Brighton area? You're 16th? Come on. That's ridiculous. And his tactics tonight, I don't know if it's him or if it's the players. Whatever Amad Diallo and Mazraoui were doing on that right-hand side is completely and utterly beyond me. Amad Diallo is one of the number 10s behind the striker, behind Rasmus Højlund, who once again did next to nothing in today's game. He is one of the number 10s behind the striker. So why is Amad Diallo hugging the touchline? And then why is Mazraoui also hugging the touchline? And then if it's a case of Mazraoui is inverting, which he did do at times today, why is Mazraoui the one inverting? Mazraoui is not going to offer you anything going forward. And that positioning of players is so important to this system because it allows you to have passing options no matter who has the ball. But if you have 2 players basically occupying the same area of the field, i.e. the touchline, who is then occupying that right-hand number 10 position? And I saw Bruno Fernandes trying to get into that area of the field, and I was like, okay, so then who's progressing the ball forward? Is it Casemiro? Casemiro is not going to do that for you. He's not going to do that for you. And in my mind, I believe Bruno Fernandes was playing deeper so he can progress the ball up to the Diallos and the Mason Mounts. Mason Mount, who did nothing in today's game. He did a few neat things against Athletic Bilbao, and they were telling me this guy's back. Mason Mount is finished as a footballer. We need to let this go. You need to let this go. And I feel for him because you look at the bench and who are you bringing on? Garnacho? Garnacho is probably as bad, if not worse, than Mason Mount. Rasmus Højlund did nothing for, 70 minutes he was on the field. Joshua Zirkzee came on and actually did a few good things, held the ball up pretty well, moved the ball pretty well, had a few shots, had a few pops at goal. But then you're looking at the quality and it's like, come on. Even on the left side, the same problem on the right. Why is Luke Shaw holding Patrick Dorgu's hand? Why is Luke Shaw playing right next to Patrick Dorgu? Towards the end of the game, I was looking at Man United and I was wondering, what even is the system? Because Patrick Dorgu is the left wing back. Luke Shaw is the left center back. Why is Luke Shaw playing basically left wing back next to Patrick Dorgu? And then why is Mason Mount also basically playing left wing next to Patrick Dorgu, left to Luke Shaw? They were basically just putting 6 people on the left and right hand flank. Diallo, Mazraoui, and I think it was Bruno and Dallo towards the end. And then on the left hand side, they had Luke Shaw, Dorgu, and Mount just flinging in balls into the box to Rasmus Højlund, who's never going to win his aerial duels against Romero or Van de Ven. So it didn't really make any sense to me. And then at some point, they just started hoofing the ball up to Harry Maguire. And I was just sitting there like, it's 1-0. Even at halftime, when the referee blew the whistle, I'm looking at the game and the Man United players are walking off the field and they already look like the game's over. They look defeated. And I'm like, there's still 45 minutes left. There's still 45 minutes left, and you look like you've already lost the game. And the way they played in that second half, they played the entire second half as if it was the final 5 minutes. The entire second half was played as though it was the final 5 minutes of the game. Tottenham Hotspur in their box, defending cross after cross after cross after cross. Man United pushing everybody into the attacking areas of the field over and over and over again. The final 45 minutes of the game were played like the final 5 minutes of the game. It was honestly baffling to me. It was baffling. And never at any point did you actually feel like Man United were going to break them down. Never at any point did you actually feel that. Never. It's ridiculous to me. Honestly ridiculous. Bruno Fernandes today, for all the plaudits we've given him this season, for all the good work he's done this season, today was another one of those games where I look at Bruno Fernandes and I'm like, this is why people are hesitant to call you world class. This is why people are hesitant to put you in the upper echelons of the best players in the world. This is exactly why. Because in today's game, he's whining to the referee. He's complaining about every foul. He's shouting all over the place. He's just being an absolute petulant waste man on the field. Just getting in people's faces, not really having any impact on the game. Anytime something doesn't go his way, he's complaining to the referee, even when really and truly, it's not something you need to be complaining to the referee about. And then when it comes to his technical side of things, when it comes to doing something on the field with the ball, wasteful, lackadaisical on the ball. There were a lot of times he lost the ball that led to a counterattack for Tottenham Hotspur. There were a few times I'm looking at his pass decisions and I'm like, is that really the pass you should be playing there? And it just felt like a nothing game from Bruno Fernandes. Talked about Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund, nothing from either of them. Amad Diallo was the only real semblance of attacking and any semblance of actual quality in the attacking areas. Really and truly. And I think Tottenham Hotspur knew that. They were double, triple marking him. It was like Inter Milan versus Yamal, but Amad Diallo. So really and truly, he was never going to get anything done because Amad Diallo is not Lamine Yamal. Newsflash. Amad Diallo is not Lamine Yamal. So really and truly, I think the only player today for Man United who I think played a great game, Amad Diallo did his best with what he had, and I thought Lenny Yoro today was really, really, really good. I thought Lenny Yoro today, his ball progression, the way he handled that huge space in behind him in the second half in particular, where Tottenham were looking to counterattack time after time. I thought he used his pace really well. His pass appreciation was really, really good as well. I think that's a great player for Man United going forward. Hopefully, he doesn't leave. And really and truly, would you blame him? If he picks his bags up and says, man, bun this club, I'm dipping. I can't blame him. Man United are not serious. And it really makes you beg the question in the long-term aspect for Manchester United, where do they go from here? Really and truly. And I think this was a conversation that was going to come up irrespective of who won today. If Man United won, we'd be asking, where did Tottenham go from here? If Tottenham had won, where do Man United go from here? And I think a lot of eyes are on Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe, and they're looking at you and they're saying, where do we go from here? Man United are actually 16th, 16th in the league. Guys, if Ancelotti, as much as he's been horrible this season, had Real Madrid 16th in the league, Papa Perez is making the calls. Papa Perez is making the calls. So Amorim should be thanking his lucky stars that he even still has a job. And frankly, I think it's deserved. He does deserve this job. I think he needs a bit of time to figure it out, get the players he needs, and really integrate his philosophy on this team. But I feel as though it's kind of a poison chalice because I would not be surprised if Amorim is sacked in October, November, just like Ten Hag was. And it's not even because he's a bad manager. I think this is all on Ineos for bringing him halfway through the season. They knew that he wasn't going to have time to infiltrate his plans. They knew he didn't have the players that fit his system. Yet they still brought him halfway through the season. So for me, I think the fans have lost hope in this guy already. On one hand, I don't believe you should lose hope yet. But on the other hand, I understand it because this team is not a 17th or 16th place quality team. And that's where he has them. That's just the fact. And it's not even as though they're 16th, 17th, and they're kind of close to 14th, 13th, 12th. They're like 10 points. Some even almost 20 points behind 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th place. I think if you remove the games against the relegation sides, Man United are the worst team in the league this season. The worst team in the league. So they have a lot of fine-tuning to do. And they have no Champions League money. And I think Man United, they run a real risk of falling into a pit hole that Many European giants have fallen before. Hamburg, Nottingham Forest for a bit, Leeds United, Aston Villa. I think they really need to get things together. Ineos has a huge task on their hand, Amorim as well. And it would be a shame to see Man United fall to that level. But I think the standards of the club, year after year, you're starting to see it's dropping. And I think the fans are also starting to accept those standards dropping. I mean, 2 years ago, sixth position, they said this is the worst season ever. Last year, they finished eighth. Oh, well, we have an FA Cup. It kind of makes up for it. This is our worst season ever. It can't get worse than this. And now in 16th position, you're starting to hear more excuses once again. So it should be interesting to see where Man United go from here. But as for Tottenham Hotspur, who are in 17th position and have arguably been as bad, if not worse, but they got that get out of jail free card today. They got that get out of jail free card today in the Europa League final that gets them Champions League football, gets them all that revenue, and creates an alert to the club that would not exist if they didn't win tonight. It should be interesting to see where Ange Postecoglou goes from here. If he does leave, if he does get sacked, who do they hire? But at the end of the day, he fulfilled his promise. And of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Do you think Amorim still deserves time? Do you think Ange Postecoglou deserves another season after this Europa League triumph? And where do you think these two clubs are headed next? Do you think Champions League is ready for Tottenham Hotspur? Or is Tottenham Hotspur ready for the Champions League? And where on earth do Man United go from here? Let me know all of that and a lot more down in the comments. Take care.